take us back a little
Mhm.
bit. Give us a little bit of history uh, of how God's brought you on this journey, what He's taught
Mm,
you, what He's called you to, and then we'll get into where you're going.
yeah. Well, I'm coming from a very dysfunctional family. I'm born in Uruguay, South America, out of an Italian descendant family. But my first job was selling candies in the bus station of my home city. Just
Mm,
with a little box selling candies, all that. And I come to Christ with an IMB missionary when I was 8 years old. Basically, he adopted me and he discipled me my whole life. That really helped me to acquire role models for my life, which really inspired me. Um, when I had my missionary call, back when I was 15 years old, I had no money. I was the poorest kid in the block. Not possibility of future, nothing. At that time, God spoke directly to my heart. He told me, prepare yourself, go to school, do higher education, because through education I will use you in the world.
mm,
So, and I was a part of this small businesses family or this, so I learned my first customer service lessons out of my stepfather, selling candies in the bus station of that. Very remarkable. They taught me the culture of work, many important things that really give me a trait in my mind, my heart. So fast forwarding, I realized I was Italian descendant. I had my Italian passport. And when that happened, my spiritual father, he was serving in Saddleback Church, helping Rick Warren to redesign the whole missions department there. That was back in 2000 when Rick
mm,
got the whole vision about unreached people group was
mm-hmm.
because of that work that my mentor did with him. So that was amazing.
Ah,
So I was the president of the Youth Baptist Convention at that time, lacking of resources for mobilization and the youth, all that. So I called Jason and said, look, I need your help to acquire tools for mobilization. So he invited me to go to Saddleback to be his assistant in the missions department and sneaking around in the youth department trying to learn that. So when I was there and I face the reality of the Hispanics in the United States, I realized this is somehow tied to your question. But you see that my life and Hispanic mobilization has been always in
mm-hmm.
the grass. But I realized, wow, Hispanic in the States, we need to learn a new language, a new culture, new system, new lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. All that is what missionaries have to do overseas. That means that the potential of Hispanics in the United States to international missions is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So that became my second missionary call to mobilize Hispanic from United States to the rest of the world. So I say to the
Mm-hmm.
Lord, okay, Lord, if you want me here doing that, you need to provide a legal way to be in the United States doing so. And in 1 year, he provided my religious visa, everything. It was incredible. So I ended up in southern Florida doing uh being a youth pastor. I become the missionary pastor of the church, later the senior pastor of the church, finally the missionary of the church. But at that time, being the senior pastor of the church, I was half-time, part-time, doing Hispanic mobilization with IMB to the whole country. So fast forwarding, Comina, which is Comibam USA. Comibam is a huge mobilization agency in Latin America. They called me to be the executive director of Comina back in 2009. When that happened, I quit to everything. I started to raise support and I started to just to do traditional missionary work inside United States. I had an incredible man of God that he was supporting me, giving me my full salary. That was amazing. Till the result of the bubble that exploded, the real estate bubble, that made that 2 years later after the bubble, this person lost his job, 2010.
Mm. Mm.
When that happened, all my income dropped because, let me tell you this, it's very complex to Latinos who we have a network of Latinos in the United States to raise support. And there is a culture of supporting people in the American white church. It's very easy to a white American person with a strong project to raise money. It's very complex to us Latinos with only our Latino network to raise
Mm-hmm.
support.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with my newborn starving. I was starving. He was not starving. But I was able to really eat because I had food stamp in the United States. And I was in crisis. I say, Lord, how come I am the director of a missionary agency helping to send under my leadership, we send more than 200 missionaries, we will help to send. How is possible that I am just living out of food stamp? And many times I had to accept to go to preach to churches, not because I have a word of God to say, but because I was needed to check after I was preaching. And I felt like I was lying, I was cheating. It was terrible, the sense to me. That was my first encounter with the theology of work. When God really pointed me to the Bible and God told me, look, your first duty is not saving the world. Your first duty is not trying, to send as much missionaries as you can. Your first duty is to take care properly of your family. And if you need to take properly of your family, you need to go to work. There's dignity on work, and there's dignity to work to put a roof for your kids and to put food on the table.
So what a transformation,
Mhm.
because so much of the community is saying you've arrived when you get to do full-time missionary work or full-time
Mhm.
pastoral work. That's what everybody wants. They want to get out of business, out of jobs, to do
Mhm.
that. And here you are, in that. And I know you want to know you were doing a great job, but you were hurting financially. What a
Yeah.
wake up call! And yet God uses this to turn your world
Yeah.
upside down. How hard was that, Mauricio, for you to hear that word from God that you're
Hmm.
kind of thinking wrong here?
It is a challenge because it is true that I have that little business background, but at a certain point, to be in the United States full time ministry is your dream come true. And at a certain point, it is like you are dealing in daily basis trying to put your food in the table, and as you're fighting your mind with all the theology of faith about how you should be prosper because you're obeying God and because you has been faithful to missions, and you know that everyone involved in missions, God is responding to their prayers, but I'm saying, Lord, this is not working to me. Nothing is
Mm,
happening. So I realized that God, it was a really God changing the whole foundation at that time. And I remember that year, 2010, when that happened. And God told me, after I start to realize and unpack the theology of work, God told me, Mauricio, I'm creating a missionary wave of BAM people, Latino BAM people coming to missions.
mm,
And I want you to prepare so when that wave is coming, you will be ready with resources, tools, and training, whatever, to help the Latino community to do their BAM or B40 work in the world.
beautiful.
I didn't know what that implied. Just I didn't know that God just started to show me a new path, and I had to obey and I had to go through. So I did two things. So I ran to look for a job the good thing is that at that time I finished my degree. That was in 2012. I finished my degree in organizational management. So someone, because I finished my degree, because I had a degree, someone called me and said, "Look, I'm looking for a COO for this heavy equipment company about excavators, bulldozers, all that. So you fit the profile. Come over to help me." So that began my career in all this world of. That was amazing because I can tie education and my degrees with a new level of God giving me another responsibility. Of course, I'm
Mm,
not telling that everyone has to go to study. What I'm telling you is that whatever you do, try to do the best in that area. Even if you have, if you have a skill, develop that skill in a way that you can become the best in that skill. Or if you have the capability to study, move forward and do something. But
yeah.
but train yourself, equip yourself.